Top 3 problems with Back to the Future. Warning, this video will have spoilers for the Back to the Future franchise. First off, I want to start by saying I'm a huge fan of Back to the Future. It has some issues, but it is still a good, fun series, despite me finding flaws. The best thing I can advise any writer on is stay away from time travel. If you absolutely have to have it, make sure you cover all bases. Go over and over everything you can find. Let's begin. Number 1. 3 Martys in 1955. So in Back to the Future 1, Marty goes back by accident, then needs Doc's help, but also messes up how his parents met and spends the rest of the movie trying to fix it. Where the problem comes in is that there should be 3 Martys in this time period. So at the end of the movie, Marty tries to save Doc by going back a few minutes earlier to warn him. However, 10 minutes is not enough time to fix it. But he does witness it. So I will break this down. We start the movie in the OG timeline, where Marty goes from a poor family with a drunk mother and a nerdy coward father. Now he goes back, changes everything, and completely changes how the future plays out. Marty watches himself go back in time. However, that Marty is not the same Marty from the original timeline. It would be another Marty who lived a better life with happier and well-off parents that bought him a truck and approved of his relationship with Jennifer. So there should have been at least 2 Martys in 1955. By intruding on this timeline, Marty never returned to his original timeline, and the Doc there was found dead. Jennifer never spent the weekend with him, and he simply disappeared and was never found, like Carol Baskin's husband. Number 2. 2 time machines in 1985. So in Back to the Future 3, Marty leaves 1955 and goes to 1885. When he gets there, he rips the fuel line on the car, and they spend the rest of the movie trying to get the car up to 88 miles an hour. Now, when this happens, there are 2 time machines in this point in time. So we will call the first one DA and the other DB. So when Doc buried DA, he would have had to take the gas out of it for long-term storage. And being how valuable gas would have been since it had not been created yet, Doc would have probably used it very sparingly. So they could have spent the movie getting DA so they could remove the fuel line and replace the fuel line on DB. Then Doc would have left the Doc in 1955 a note inside saying the fuel line needs to be replaced. Also, he could have tested the Bill and Ted theory, which he kind of already did by storing DA in a cave. He could have added in a line asking Doc from 1955 to also send a small canister of gasoline if he did not have enough. I asked some mechanics if this is possible, and they have told me this could have been done as far as fixing the fuel line. Number 3. How does Marty know Doc? So, lastly, how does Marty know Doc? Now, I really have an issue with this as far as the first half of the first movie. Once Marty goes back in time and talks to Doc, it is clear that Doc would have sought out Marty, knowing that he would have to work with him to ensure everything would happen as it did. But in the original timeline, it is strange and unclear how Marty knew Doc. If there was a line about him being a teacher at the school, or Marty working for Doc as an after-school job or something, it would have made sense. But we have nothing. And so before he goes back in time, none of this really makes sense. Doc Brown, from what the principal says, sounds like he's the town kook that everybody stays away from. So if they make a remake of this series, or if they make a fourth film, they should mention it. And on that note, I just want to point out my idea for a great remake. Tom Holland has supposedly been pre-selected as the new Marty McFly, which I would say would be a good choice. But if they decided to use another actor, they should use someone who's new, a no-name actor. However, I think I have the greatest idea for a new Doc Brown, which, with that, running it by my friend, and he agrees, it would be a good solid choice. Peter Capaldi. I think these two are the start to a really great cast. If you like this content and are interested in reading an epic fantasy series, please check out my series, The Guardian of Light, available on Amazon. Also, if you'd like to check out my in-depth website for news, updates, and more, the link will be in the description below. I wish to thank you all, and happy writing.